This call is being recorded.
Welcome to a Diary of a Fashionista, everyone. If I sound a little bit different, yippee skippy, that's because I'm recording from my laptop in my office, finally. In my office, not my official podcast studio yet. We're getting closer, you guys. We're getting close where I can get in there and actually close the door and have no one bother me. But because I want my laptop down here to do something else, I figured I might as well record with Danielle via the UberConference desktop configuration today. So if I sound a little bit different, that's why. I'm actually talking to Danielle on my laptop. And so today, Danielle and I are going to be doing training of my aide part two because obviously we didn't finish it. And so, yeah, and you guys get to meet my aide. We're recording that episode on Monday, December December 7th, so you guys get to meet my aide. And so I'm going to let Danielle take it away, and I'll ask when is trying to get in Pandora. For those of you who do listen to this um, in Pandora, excuse me, on Pandora, I should not say in Pandora, on Pandora, Aswin has a destination on Lipson for Pandora, which I can't find, but Danielle can. I don't know. What? I saw the today. Well, you will try and do it today if you're not. You did. Okay. For some weird reason, I can't find it. For some weird reason, well, I haven't checked. So that's my fault. My fault, you guys. I haven't checked. So ask when is in the Pandora. I need to check on the Pandora app on my phone because I don't think, and I'm just going to silence the dinging, and I don't think that the last time I checked it wasn't in Pandora, but a diary of a fashionista was. So I'll check. I'll let you guys know, and then you guys will be happy campers. But I'm gonna let Danielle take it away, and we'll see how this goes. Well, ironically, I didn't meet Lisa physically until I got back from Florida. We, I, ironically, we did the interview over FaceTime, believe it or not. And I'm always used to meeting candidates face to face, like a normal interview. But yeah, because she was out of town and didn't have a job per se before she had had me as a new client. She was going in transition herself, so that that means she just um wasn't didn't have anyone at that time. So I met her over technology in the middle of Home Depot, believe it or not. And it was I am surprised we got the and of course my stepmom talks to her, but we didn't physically meet until October 28th, the day I got home from Florida. So that's always interesting, using the power of technology. And that being said, Danielle and I are 2 feet away from each other. Well, Danielle's busy today, but we're always using the power of technology to communicate. Except I will see Danielle tomorrow briefly, so I'm excited about that, you guys. Because I'm going to now. You can add me for this one. I haven't seen the movie 9 to 5 yet, so maybe after I see the play, which Danielle is in, I'll see the movie because. And you guys can add me on Twitter for this one. Um, I have yet to see the latest version of Little Mermaid, and Lisa made me record that just in case we have any downtime. Just in case we have any downtime. So the first time I did,
I, I, so now it's known that I want this to raw and not because I was not at home with it.
well, okay. So you haven't seen it yet, either. Well, guess what, you guys? That makes two of us that haven't seen it. And so, maybe Danielle, maybe if you want to say it, and maybe if I have time to say it, we would do an episode on the Little Mermaid because apparently it's supposed to be good. So don't give any spoilers to Danielle and I because we haven't seen it yet. So so basically we're using the power. I use the power of technology to meet my aide, and technology works out nicely. Technology works out nicely to meet the aide. Typically, I don't do that, you guys. I have a face-to-face interview. The last time I had a face-to-face, well, that's not true because I've had face-to-face interviewing these aides. But if worse comes to worse and push comes to shove, use the power of technology to interview these aides if if the aide knows how to use technology. And so many people know how to use text nowadays, it's not even funny. And Lisa and I, have been texting back and forth since day one. And she was trying to figure me out. I was trying to figure her out. And so, if push comes to shove, you guys, you can use the power of technology to do a interview. And yeah, so that's how I met Lisa. Say that again. Okay, you guys. Now she's having a coffee attack. Jeez, all just think of them. Danielle's got too much going on, as do I.
You move on.
Also, are other people helping me along with the aide, along with Lisa. Yeah, I figured as it was you were trying to us. See, you guys, I have to speak CP as much as Danielle and I speak. I still have to speak CP. My stepmom is helping me make this transition, but other than that, it's essentially Lisa and I on the doing it day to day. I only see my stepmom at night. I mean, we we honestly live two different schedules, even though she's here. We honestly, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we honestly live two different schedules. So, even though my stepmom is here, she, we, we see each, we don't even do that. Lisa comes at 8 o'clock, and my stepmom sometimes is up, other times is not. So I typically see my stepmom at night, even though Lisa's not living with me, and even though what this transition is actually going smoother than a lot of other transitions, because I well, first of all, I didn't know what to do on May 19th when my dad died, and that was a transition in my own life, and thank God I had the support I did, because I would have been more upside down than I was. And thank God that someone was living with me at the time. I mean, I would have been more upside down than I was had and I had another aide working with me at that time too. The other aide came on May 19th, and then she removed because she didn't feel like driving up from Newcastle anymore to do it. And she and I are still friends. So even though I had a living with me at the time, Sally, and she wasn't supposed to be on that day, but she landed up being on the day anyway, because Sally and I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I and Sally keeps saying to me, I was put in your life for a very specific person reason, and I still can't figure out why. I still can't figure out why, and why that Sally and then trained Lisa a little bit. I mean, she only trained her for two hours. I've been doing most of the training, you guys. I've been doing Sally was doing a 2 hour training with Lisa, and that's it. And then I've been doing most of the training, and because of Lisa's previous experience, which I think I told you guys last week, uh Lisa's a sharp cookie. Lisa is a sharp cookie, and Danielle, you're going to meet Lisa one of these days, and I'll introduce Lisa to you guys on Ask Lynn, because this was Lisa's idea totally of bringing her on Ask Lynn to talk about behind the scenes a little bit. It wasn't my idea. It wasn't my idea, and so I think it's going to. And my stepmom is keeps asking me, "How do you feel about Lisa?" And I love the fact that she's actually taking me out. I have done more. I have done more since coming back from Florida than I have done in the past year. I have finally gotten to the point where I have cleaning my house 2 days a week, but I have finally gotten to the point, and I guess someone granted my wish here, that I got a caregiver specifically for me. And most of these aides that I've had previously, except for one who only came in and worked with me in May May 19th, she came in, and except for one, have had no experience with disabilities whatsoever until until they met me and until they were I won't say forced into it, but until they were given the opportunity. And my dad, unbeknownst to me, my dad said to Siri, and she tells me this many months after, and many months after he's gone to. My dad said to Siri, "Do you want to take care of Win? And do you want to clean my house?" Because we hired Siri as a housekeeper. We didn't hire Siri to take care of me necessarily. And so, anyway, then we ended up being the mom. And so I feel like having someone who's more specialized in disabilities, even though I didn't like the fact that Sally was leaving, and I didn't like the fact that I had to do a transition and do a turnaround. I now, looking back on it, 2 weeks in, thank you very much. Um, I feel like it's the best decision we ever made. And unfortunately, Lisa's not going with me to the play tomorrow. Someone else is going. But I feel like do what you have to do to meet your child's needs. Do what you have to do to meet your child's needs, or in this case, your stepchild's needs, because my stepmom is helping me now. And so I almost, now, if it wasn't for my stepmom, I would have proposed the idea because I am so used to having housekeepers come in and work with me for 1 hour that I thought it was going to be too much for me. But when you guys meet Lisa, you'll see how, and I'll get Lisa to giving you behind the scenes just a little bit. I'll I'll ask her how much we do out in the community. So you will see that I am really home. I mean, today I'm home and Mondays I'm home, but I'm not really home anymore, you guys. I mean, it's not, it wasn't my choice to do this, but when a transition needs to happen, a transition needs to happen. It's not, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we would, Sally wasn't joking when she gave her 2 weeks notice. And my mom and I said this done. But, as I said last week, Sally and I are still friends. And all my aides and I are still friends. And if Lisa ever has to leave my life for any reason, Lisa and I will still be friends. I mean, I'm meeting her friends slash her previous clients now, and one of them happens to know Danielle and happens to be coming out there and still is her client. And so I am now loving life because people forget, and then Danielle, I'll let you chime in, but people forget the power of human connection. We all, and I'll say this publicly through and through, we all rely on social media to connect with friends and family and podcasters in every which way, but we forget the power of spray painting chairs and with good solid friends. And turns out one of Lisa's very good friends is I met her many years ago, but she is acquaintance of mine. Well, she will turn into a very good friend of mine because, um, as the old adage goes, a friend of Lisa's is a friend of mine. So, if Lisa wants to go see her friends when she's on duty with me, of course I'm going to go. So, Danielle, do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah.
Go, go.
Yeah. Lisa, have you yeah, yeah, how?
How did Lisa help me around the house?
Yeah.
Well, if you honestly want to know the truth, she she does it because her modus operandi is getting on going out. That's the way she rolls. So my house gets cleaned 2 days a week, which is better than it was getting cleaned. I mean, it was getting cleaned 7 days a week, and granted, this house isn't that big or that dirty, quite frankly. And so Lisa comes like tomorrow. I'll give you an example for tomorrow. And Lisa will come and at 8 o'clock get me dressed, and then we will either stay at stay at this house and then stay at this house and then do something at this house. But primarily after she gets me dressed during the week, we're on the road. We're on the road. I'm on the road. Tuesdays through Fridays, doing whether it's my appointments or hers, and that is her modus operandi. So primarily, she is working with me, not necessarily working with anyone else in this house, even though it's my stepmom and myself, but primarily Lisa's mine. And I feel wonderful about that, even though as I said, even though a transition needed to happen, I feel like it's the best transition ever yet. And because I've had aides quit via email and never speaks to me. Then I've been in such jams, and at least this one was I gave this one was she gave a 2 weeks notice, but then helped do the hiring essentially. I mean, we were my stepmom, myself, and Siri were interviewing candidates. So all together. So Siri did a lot of the majority of work. along with my stepmom and myself. And so I feel like it's the best transition yet. I have nothing to say bad about this transition. I will say nothing bad about all my aides. All my aides have been wonderful. I still keep in contact with mostly all my aides, and all my aides have been wonderful. And when a transition needs to happen, if you can get the person to give the 2 weeks notice and then help you do the hiring, that's just terrific. But if you can't, you can't. So it all depends on your situation, and it all depends on how things unfold. And now looking back on it, do I still wish I didn't have to go through this transition? Oh, heck yes. But, um, but as I said, if a transition needs to be done, it's the smoothest transition I have ever had in my whole life of AIDS. And I had AIDS even when my mom was alive. I had AIDS starting when I was 14. So because my mom said I'd give up at the end, even though my mom was my primary caregiver, she accepted that she needed help. And so my housekeepers would help me even when I was 14 years old, able bodied and walking in Bentley. And so when I say able bodied, using the power of my own legs. And so I have had help, and my stepmom goes, "This is new. This is new." The part that's new is losing both your biological parents. The part that isn't new is accepting that you have a CP and you need help. I mean, hello? So, so the part that isn't, and when she said that, I just let that comment go out into the universe. And so it's like you gotta do what you gotta do for the individual with a disability. And so Lisa primarily gets me dressed and then we're off and rolling. And so Lisa helps around the house by cooking dinner, and that's it. I mean, she makes me breakfast, but we're usually out for lunch, and then she cooks dinner for my mom and I, but we told her that from the get go, and that's it. She is primarily mine.
Yeah, 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 no, yeah, yeah,
Un unfortunately, and I'll get into this in a later podcast. Unfortunately, I haven't spoken to my biological family in about, I would say, about good since June. I haven't spoken to anyone of my biological family since June. So I don't know if they know they must know I got a new aide, and they I haven't tomorrow will be the first day I get to introduce her to my stepmom's biological family. And so we'll see. We'll see because of mine I haven't spoken to since June, and I'll get into why on a as soon as I'm able on a does a podcast. As soon as I get an update on something, I'll get into why I haven't spoken to them since June. And I don't plan to speak to them. If they want to hear from me, they have to listen to the podcast, and I'll put it that way, and I'll tell that publicly because what they did to me in June was not cool, and I'll get into more details when I'm able to. But no, my family hasn't met Lisa. My dad's family hasn't met Lisa, and nor has my mom's family. And so none of the two families have met Lisa. Now, tomorrow, my stepmom's family is going to meet Lisa. Tomorrow being Sunday, but other than that, my family hasn't met Lisa, and I don't plan to introduce them to her. Quite frankly, I didn't plan to introduce my family to Siri in the way I did. Ugh, in the way I did either. I mean, that was interesting. And so yeah, but my family hasn't met Lisa, and I plan not to introduce her to those guys unless I unless push comes to shove when I need to go somewhere and do something. But other than that, I haven't spoken to my family since June, and I plan not to speak to them. And Danielle knows why, and I'll get into it on a later date. My my favorite. I knew you were going to ask me that. My favorite thing to do with Lisa is because, and you guys will hear this, she is so, um, I won't say headstrong, but she tells it like it is, and I have not had a tell it like it is, except my, my last one told it like it was too. See, I told it like it was when, yeah, that was interesting getting, that was always interesting, but I am so used to people, and Siri actually said before she left, when I know this is going to be hard on you, but you're going to have aides change like there's no tomorrow because you don't have the stability of your parents anymore. So I've of course accepted that, and at the end of my time of need. And when I woke up that Sunday morning in Florida, and before we went to the airport, I said, okay, I'm going to be as strong as I can through this transition. And I am not going to rely on the past, even though the past likes to come and see me and check in on me every so often. I mean, all my aides have not checked in on me since they've left me. So Siri's been the first one that's actually come in and checked on me and made sure that I was still standing. And so and the fact of the matter is, but and we're still friends, so yes, that's a good thing. And we actually have a better friendship because of this transition. Um, and I just think change is good, and because of so my favorite thing to do with Lisa is getting out, and she she is actually taking me swimming. Believe it or not, you guys, I get I get to jump in the pool, and for those of you who've read I Come a Winner, you know I don't like pools, but with Lisa saying you need to go to swim, it will benefit you. I'm like, okay, here we go. Drag myself in the pool. No, the ocean looks better than the pool. But anyway, I get to see the ocean. I didn't get in the ocean per se, but I did get to stick my feet in the sand during this transition. And so I am super excited to do that. And if she wants to introduce me to her previous clients and just get me out in the community, that's great. And that's the way we roll. And if she wants me to get involved with Challenge Aspen again, that's great too. I need to step away from those guys. Not to say that I don't love them. They have helped me throughout the years, but I need to not be lumped in with Challenge Aspen, and um there is an article in the Aspen Times mentioning Danielle, yours truly, and Danielle stick that article about 9 to 5 in the show notes so people can read it. Stick to the original one I sent you in the show notes. And one of the things they said is Danielle is well known for Challenge Aspen, and because I hate to put Challenge Aspen in this light, but because Challenge Aspen doesn't doesn't necessarily see all gifts, they lump us in as if they have as if we all have disabilities and that's it. Whereas Lisa's now seeing she's learning my patterns quickly and she's learning, and if anyone has any good ideas for me and typically banana and peanut butter and how we need to do that on a bone. Tell me because I am not used to doing this eating on a bone thing and tell me. So if anyone has any good ideas, you guys need to tell me that one. And so yeah, I think because and now if Lisa says you need to do challenge Jasmine, it will be good for your heart and soul. I will seriously consider it. But because people who don't know anything about disabilities, let alone cerebral palsy, need to learn about other people's gifts and learn about their talent. I'm sorry, but um, my favorite thing to do is just hang out with Lisa and learn about her. We're still in the learning stages. She's still learning about my stepmom, and I am still learning about her, and we're still learning about each other.
Ah, ne, I, da, da, ni, wo, bo, you.
She does Tuesdays to Fridays and then Sunday night. I don't know. I don't know who originated that schedule, but she that's the schedule we're sticking with, and she comes at 8 o'clock, and I'm getting used to not having aide living with me. That's I think the harder part of the transition, because now I have people coming in at certain times, and people leaving at certain times, which is also a good thing, so we can get our private space back. But having a living aide wasn't a disaster, even though it got interesting. It got interesting at the end, but having a living aide wasn't a disaster. But I think what my piece of advice, you guys, and this was the piece of advice that I learned over the wisdom of many months of having lemonade. And my piece of advice is give that living aid 2 days off at least, because she Sally was about to go nuts. Um, even though bless her heart, she wanted to work with me 24/7. I mean, the day after my dad died, Sally was working. So it's but I think you should at least give people at least 2 days off to not have them burn out. But again, it's all up to you guys and what the child needs. And yeah, so that's the that's the schedule we have now. And if the schedule changes, I will certainly let you guys know, because it does affect this podcast one way or another. And what I am still trying to teach Lisa that we do have podcasts able to be listened to. She's still in mindset of books on CDs, you guys, or CDs in general. And she goes, well, you can bring your CDs into my car. And I'm like, okay, CDs? And I find it funny that with all this newfangled technology, she's still at the end where CDs are in cars now. Even Siri didn't necessarily. Siri got to the point where she had Amazon smart speaker, and she was learning all this new technology because of me. Now, granted, this is a totally different person. I may be able to flip it to the other side, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Lisa is set in her ways, and even though she knows about the podcast and she said subscribe me to your podcast yesterday, which yesterday being Friday, this is being recorded on the 9th of November, and so even though she says subscribe me to the podcast, she may or might not listen to the podcast. Whereas Sherry wanted to learn about new technologies, and this is my public service announcement. Then I'll let Danielle chime back in. When people have unique names here, like Win and Siri, CERI, thank you very much, not Siri the iPhone app, even though she said that. Don't give people a break, because what I've noticed working with a person with a unique name is they will mock me and mock her all the time. So when we say names there, and I don't care even if you do have a speech impediment, I don't care. You can't come back to say, you can't come back and make jokes about that person's name. So knock it off, you guys, with the win-wins, and it's a win-win situation, and because that is starting to drive me nuts. And when I started working with Siri, of course, when I introduced my self, and she got my name all confused, all confused, which I'm thinking, okay, coming out of your mouth, I am thinking, okay, you're going to get all Siri, the iPhone app, is gonna get all confused, which ended up happening. And now Lisa's saying, Lisa uses the iPhone app, and so I'm like, oh my, oh my goodness, that all feels here. But I'm I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it during this transition because Lisa is such a common name, and both my stepmom and I have unique names enough to screw up with people. That give people a chance before you go before you go out on a limb and say, why did they name you that? Because what I'm coming to find out is, don't judge a book by its cover, you guys. Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't just treat those who want to help the disabled nicely. And I am going to try and convince Siri to come on the podcast, but the way we're doing it is we're just going to have a conversation between two friends, and you'll see how this woman, along with Lisa, has touched my life in an extraordinary way. And so I am going to try to get her on this podcast. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know how we're going to do it. We may have to do it at my house. We may have to do it at a common ground, but she wants to learn about this new technology, whereas Lisa doesn't. So, and that being said, you have to teach people how to subscribe to a podcast if they're going to do a podcast. First of all, my piece of advice would be have them subscribe to a podcast, then decide whether they want to do a podcast or not. So, Danielle, do you have any other questions for me?
No.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
You said you call the
Say that again. I didn't.
You said we call the
Oh, my favorite part about Lisa, and my favorite part about Lisa is she is willing to do anything and everything within limits for me. I mean, as I said, I've been on the road since I got home from Florida, and so my favorite part about Lisa, and she told me this via phone. She goes, "If it seems like I'm yelling at you, I'm not. It's just my strong personality, and you guys will see her strong personality, and you will see the I actually made Siri come out of her shell a little bit more because of Siri was quiet at the beginning, and when she's talking to me nowadays, she gets she gets quiet, but she wasn't as quiet as she used to be. So she will you will when we do the two aides, of course they won't be together, but when because strong personalities drive me crazy. Strong personalities drive me nuts. So I need to, and I'll admit this, because of my CG and because of this transition, um, having a strong personality in the middle of Home Depot being in field, I thought, okay, I got I got stronger. I got stronger because I needed to, but now I'm perfectly fine. But having a strong personality based off what I knew, and my dad was from Boston too, so he grew up in New York and was born in Boston. So he had that strong Boston personality, but I never thought I would have a aide with a strong Boston personality. Of course, little did I know, but strong personalities drive me nuts. But we seem to be, as they say, opposites attract, and yin and yang. I mean, we seem to be getting along, although Lisa had to learn the hard way, and she'll just sit outside, and Lisa had to learn the hard way, and my physical therapy appointment when she was on her cell phone and got yelled at, and I'm like, not by me, thank you very much. She got yelled at by the people around her, but because she's one of those personalities of I'll do whatever I want. You can't tell me what to do. I have a strong Boston personality. I'm like, whoa there. I need I need to I need to be told, I need to be asked what to do, not necessarily told what to do. And so we're working on it. We seem to be getting along nicely, but we're coming from me still grieving and me now having a strong personality as an aide. I yeah, it took a little bit of adjusting as I because Lisa won't let other people, well, she will now, but during her training, eyes were on her, including my own, and poor Siri. Siri had to say, could you please give it a chance? Could you please just pay attention and listen? Because that's when I figured out that's when I figured out that I was like, okay, here comes the strong personality into my life because um for Siri to say that, and Siri takes things in stride. So for Siri to not necessarily yell, but say that to this brand new aide of mine. I'm like, okay, you you can avoid do that. And at the time, I'm like, okay, I was so obliviously tired that I didn't realize that my stepmom, was watching this whole entire thing. I thought that it was me, Siri, and Lisa, and then I look up, and there's my stepmom watching this whole entire training. I'm like, oh boy, oh boy. So that's how I learned the strong personality. I mean, Lisa won't take Lisa won't take good punches, and I like the strong personality. So I guess my favorite part is the strong personality. And if I sound a little bit sick, you guys, that's why. That's what I get. Because I've been on the road and we're still learning each other. So I will have to tell Lisa that were and I just realized as we're recording this, I have to ask my SIA to do something for me. But I will tell Lisa what I even though I love going out, I will we're still learning our patterns. I will work with Lisa and hopefully Lisa will eventually support my work, which Sally did from day one. Sally did from day one, and she still does. But but you can't teach old dogs new tricks. I mean, if a person wants to listen to CDs, have at it. And so I would think that we're still learning each other and it's going to go smoothly and we'll see how it goes. And hopefully Lisa, as I said last week, hopefully Lisa is in my life until the day I die because this is my new life and I won't get my dad back. I won't get my mom back, but at least I have people that love me and support me and that's gonna make me cry now that I think about it because at the time when we were all in Denver dealing with my dad and his lung cancer, and we were trying to love him and support him, even though he didn't want love and didn't want support. He just wanted to be left alone by every single doctor, by every single nurse, by every single everyone, except his fiance, my who's now my stepmom, and and so and they were planning to get married and that never happened and so even though I still call her my stepmom, she is my stepmom and even though she's not legally my stepmom, she is my stepmom, stepmom by surrogacy. um and so, even though they loved each other, and even though he was grieving with his new life challenges, I thought, well, what am I going to do? What my first thought that came into my mind the day he got diagnosed was, where's my life going? Turns out I am still in my house, still living life I knew, and even though it's a transitional change, I am still living life that I knew and still in the community that I love but and still have this podcast. And let me tell you something, podcasting has saved my life. podcasting, getting on mic with you guys every single Saturday and every single Monday to doing Ask Win has saved my life. And Sally goes, I don't know many people that are raising awareness for cerebral palsy as gracefully as you are. And I'm also looking for someone, if anyone knows anyone, I'm also looking for someone with Lou Gehrig's disease. I'll explain why when we do that episode. And I just figured out why. I'm also looking for a survivor of lung cancer. You guys know why. And so I want to talk to lung cancer survivor and Lou Gehrig's disease person because I need to start raising awareness for these disabilities that are not prevalent in the world. The only reason people know about Lou Gehrig's disease is because of the ice bucket challenge, and I will explain why Lou Gehrig's disease now has touched my life. It's touched my life personally, and I am actually doing a specialized episode with a Lou Gehrig's disease patient and the lung cancer patient. You guys know why it's touched my life. And so I want to now raise awareness for not only disabilities that involve cerebral palsy, but other disabilities as well. So if you guys know of anyone with a disability that wants to come on, and I'm ready to talk to soul licking brain aneurysm survivor too. That took me nine years. The lung cancer survivor has only taken me months, whereas the soul licking brain aneurysm survivor has taken me 9 years to tell my story, even though I've talked about it twice on with someone who runs the Lisa Bossy Foundation out of New York, all about soul leaking by aneurysms. And I'm supposed to go out there to represent my mom, and that hasn't happened yet. And so I am ready to start raising awareness for all other disabilities because this is going to be my full time job being a motivational speaker and a podcaster and a author. So, Danielle, do you want to lead us out?
Yeah. Yeah. You. So. So. Yeah.
Well, welcome, you guys. And I want to thank you for coming on Mr. Toad's Wild Mind, or as the children's book goes, Pizza Cat. And I'll explain why Pizza Cat got thrown in there at the end. I mean, and next week we're doing another episode where Danielle interviews me if she's not too tired from being in Hawaii. She will interview me about why I'm retiring from Country Day because, as you guys know, I'm actually retiring. I'm transitioning to something, as Diane and David put it. And so I'm not retiring from motivational speaking. I'm retiring from teaching, and that's been a long time coming. And for some weird reason, I feel like I can do better as a motivational speaker than I can a teacher any day. So, you guys, happy Monday, happy Veterans Day. Salute those vets. And by the way, you guys, if you can, buy the vets a cup of coffee because when this episode comes out, it will be Veterans Day, so do what you can for those vets. My grandfather was my dad's dad, was and is a vet, and I will be remembering him on Monday, even though I'll be working, and I'll be on the Women's Clunker Business Show with and I'll let you guys know when that comes out. I'll also be on a podcast about podcasting with a vet show that's ironic that we're recording on Veterans Day, and I already had the woman Jamie on of the Women's Conquer Business show on Ashland, and now she's reciprocating and doing the podcast because her podcast is the best. And so I will let you guys know when those links come out. Thanks, you guys.